today we have an announcement of a ceasefire, sort of a ceasefire, a withdrawal of the IDF from Lebanon. And to be honest, first and foremost, I think this is a test for Lebanon. Can Lebanon be a legitimate country or not? That's the question, which I have a feeling they might fail answering correctly and optimistically. Here's the thing with the change of regimes, when I talk about the American regimes, there is hope for a new world order that will be conducted through Trump, because Trump is not stupid. He understands, for example, that Europe has to pay their share for NATO, and there is so much things in the world that just don't work. There are things that experimentations that had failed. One question is Lebanon a failed state, a failed experimentation? And a very easy way to check that is whether or not that agreement that Israel had with the Lebanese government, not with Hezbollah disapproves of the message. This is an opportunity for Lebanon to take back the power, to take back their country for the Lebanese people. And if they cannot do it, I think an amazing thing that might happen during the Trump administration is that there must be some rethinking. As in, what do we do with countries that are not countries? This national experiment that started after World War II is a phase in human history. We were hunter-gatherers, and then we turned into agriculture, and then we built cities, and then we turned trade global, and then we had, city-states, we had empires, and then we had nations. And that is, to be honest, a very brief period in our history that we've played with, we've tested. But is it going to survive? And with somebody like Trump leading the biggest, strongest power in the world right now, he might have the balls to say, hey guys, we have to rethink it. Like, you're fired. This business model does not work. We have tried for 80 years. We've tried ever since the end of World War II to have those nation states. Many of them failed. And therefore, how do we ensure the safety of legitimate nation states while also recognizing that there are areas in the world that are chaotic, uncontrollable? How do you defend your population when potentially an organization, a terrorist organization like ISIS or Al-Qaeda or whoever, might also get unconventional weapons? And I'm not talking about just chemical weapons like the weapons that Israel found in the Hezbollah stash in the north, right? They were fully prepared for chemical and unconventional use of chemicals and drugs and other necessary items to conduct mass human violations in the sort of the 7th of October style human violations. And meaning if a person has a hole, that hole will be violated kind of situation. Like, they had it all prepared. They were stocking up things that would help them with that kind of missions. So unconventional in more than one way. But even scarier than that, they can get anything. Nukes, long-range ballistic missiles. So many things that could happen. So here's the thing with the ceasefire. There are several reasons, and Netanyahu addressed them, of why why we are withdrawing from Lebanon, and it's going to take 60 days. It's going to be gradual. But the reason that I think I want to focus on this live stream is the rethinking, the global rethinking. It's time, hey guys, it's like, we have to talk kind of conversation. It's time that we talk. It's time for this isn't working. The idea of nation states doesn't work, not everywhere. So what are we doing with the failed experimentation that is Lebanon, that is Libya, that is Afghanistan, right? Some areas luckily are isolated geographically, right? So the mass starvation in Afghanistan is actually nobody's problem because they are in the middle of the mountains, in the middle of Asia. It's like their problem. Some places, for example, Lebanon, because Lebanon is so close to collapse, it's not just Israel that has to be prepared to take out Hezbollah. There needs to be a global understanding of what do we do when there are failed states right in the midst of us. So we have to talk. It's a conversation. And the other technical reasons is probably because, of course, for that to happen, the IDF doesn't really need to go out. Lebanon can prove that it is a real state or the government. There is a much healthier way to do that. The healthier way that the government could prove that it can function and Lebanon has any hope left before we globally announce that that's it, the failed state situation is getting closer and closer to our places that are not failed, and it's something that cannot be ignored. Yeah, there could have been a better way to do that, and that is, first of all, let's start with the government taking over Beirut. They don't have to take over the whole country first. They're gonna fail in Beirut anyway. So let them fail in Beirut and leave the IDF to do whatever is needed for Israel to be safe. And you can do the same thing exactly as I just mentioned and said, while not withdrawing from Lebanon. But obviously, when you have an administration of bitter people that want to do as much damage as possible before they leave the White House, things get more complicated and there is a game to play. Those games cost lives. They cost people's lives. It's not a joke. But obviously it's not something those who are far away on a different kind of continent care about, obviously. So I want to go through. I found the Bibi's declarations, and there are some points I want to address in the ceasefire agreement that are clearly, remnants of the Biden administration being like, we want to control everything. And thank goodness, the hope is that the next administration, which I think Bibi basically said outright, listen, we're not getting, like, the weapon shipment, they're not getting here. Like, on paper, the United States is supplying things, but in reality, they don't like ship it. You just, on paper, there was a transaction, in reality, there isn't. So that is an issue. And another thing is that there is a need to focus on the RGC. And one of the things that make it a bit harder to properly get rid of the Hezbollah's capability to shoot missiles, because even if let's be honest, okay, it's a small area, so small that even if the IDF takes over all the way to the Litani River, it's not like Hezbollah cannot shoot ballistic missiles. Yes, they can. They don't, they can, we can push them all the way to Turkey, and they would still, especially the way Turkey is now, they would still have territory from which they would be able to make sure that Israelis suffer, right? Whether it's going to be like exhaust, the soldiers that are in what was Lebanon that will suffer from constant attacks, or if it's going to be the citizens. Let's be honest, it's there. So without taking out their oxygen, yeah, you're like you're pushing back the fire, but it's not like a local fire, it's fire that knows how to shoot far. So it's more complicated than that, and this oxygen line has to be cut, and that oxygen is of course Iran. So that's another reason. I want to go through a couple of comments here. What do I think about the ceasefire in general? In an ideal world, right? In an ideal world where people in the White House, for example, cared about the world, cared about America, cared about truth, and weren't just evil, bitter people that are so evil and bitter they think it's and like obsessed with power that they would have a senile old man that doesn't know where he is run the country. I mean, seriously, like that's a way to be evil. All right, Crunch is asking, is it bad, good, or okay kind of agreement? It's an okay agreement. It's an okay agreement. Okay, it's an okay agreement because it's an opportunity for us, first of all, to have a breather. Second of all, to try and focus on cutting off their oxygen. And obviously, there are weapons coming from Russia and things like that as well, not just Iran. But the thing is that Russia, without Iran, Russia wouldn't really probably wouldn't really have any interest in continuing doing that. This is not, how do I say it, like historically speaking, like this area, this geographical area is not in Russian interest. Not, it's out of their scope. So yeah. Okay, so Purple Pulp, I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't notice you. I'm gonna, sorry, I'm gonna, 1 second. Okay. Why is it? Hello, Rich. How you doing? Did you notice how Bibi threatened Assad very bluntly? I think it was one of the most important overlooked part of the statement. Yeah, let's go through the statement. I have a very weird translated kind of statement, but I think it's gonna be better to go through it. So it's an okay agreement. On one hand, it's, people are tired, and it would allow the wives to see their husbands for a little bit, and it would allow Israel some time to regroup. Unfortunately, it would also allow the enemy some time to regroup. It's not a closed deal, but it's also, with the regime change in the United States, with the government change, it's like, it's like the most generous opportunity you can give Lebanon to show that it is a legitimate country. But the moment they fail, which they will, it would give the ability, after all, there is like also the diplomatic aspect of it, to say for the administration, if we are smart, finally, to come out and say, hey, we have to rethink about our strategy and how we're gonna approach failed countries, failed states, and the population that lives there, because they're risking whether they immigrate or like the refugees, or whether they stay where they are at, they're a global threat for peace. So we have to address that. That is a good opportunity for to show that Israel took off all the leaders of Hezbollah. Israel like eliminated the top echelon of Hezbollah with the Beeper operation. Israel took out so many of the ground operatives. It's like, here is a dead organism for you to finish off, to prove that you can function as a human, you know, just like, that's it. Like, this thing is like, and don't, and for those who have like mercy and things like high and empathy, they're dying out while like attacking you, you know, not like, oh no, I'm dying, please help me, I'm so sorry. No, 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 no. Like dying, bleeding, and like and like, if you cannot even take care of that, I mean, you don't have, you're a failed human state, whatever, just failed. Like, okay, you cannot take care of yourself, that's the reality of it, you're not independent. And then it's like, okay, you need to be taken care of, somebody needs to protect you, and you need to provide something for those who protect you, because otherwise, like, why would anyone protect you, to be honest? But it's also maybe a good time to say that, you know, some things that are dying, let them go, let it go, you know. I get it, like, I understand, but you cannot reach every patient, you cannot, it's too hard. I don't know when in our history did we decide that we are so capable and strong, like the stupid Angela Merkel moment, where it's like, yes, we can handle it. No, you cannot handle it, sweetheart. No, don't be that grandiose, okay? If something has to die, let it die. It's gonna die anyway. The only question is whether it's gonna gouge your eye out before it dies or not. So how about it dies without gouging your eye? That's what I'm thinking. Anyway. All right. Let's go through the finally translated. Oh wait, didn't I say it? Come on. I thought I said it. Where is new? Sorry. No, I had this Fox News. Okay, wait, I need to go through my history now. If something, I think, for example, one of the greatest mistakes that I like, a lot of people like blaming the British Empire. I agree with that statement. If it weren't for the British Empire, they've been all be dead by now. They've all been dead. Like, the British Empire came and saw a population and was like, oh no, they're struggling and they're dying out. How about we build hospitals and build like waterways for them and teach them how to farm and stuff so they can feed themselves and be like productive. And how about, no, how about Britain, sweethearts, just let them, you should have let them go. You know, you arrived at Egypt, arrived at the Middle East, like the trajectory they were going at was the correct one. You didn't have to intervene and give them medicine. Yes, the Brits saved the Arabs. Arabs were, they were almost went extinct. That's but that's like something that I'm saying. Like, I don't know how many times I said it. The Middle East was empty. They were this ideology, they were butchering themselves to extinction. Women would give birth to girls, would feel so sorry for being a woman in this world, and would just get rid of the problem right away. They were dying out. They were dying out. They were supposed to go extinct. All of them. Okay? And then the British came and was like, oh, how about we provide you medicine? No, don't give them anything, man. Just let what has to die, let it die. Wait a second. There is one comment here I wanna, I think it, wanna highlight. I don't know, it disappeared, sorry. Oh, here. So are you saying we could have spared from 400 million Arab clones? Yes. Artificial. They're artificially here. Just check the numbers. In 1960, there were less than 500,000 Jordanians, about 4 million Syrians, maybe 27 million, like, I don't know, like maybe 30 million Egyptians. And then I was like, okay, let's feed them. No, don't feed them. Don't feed them. All right. And by the way, Europe's population size stayed the same. It's about the same. There were 80 million people in Germany, and there are 80 million people now in Germany. Same. Not in the Arab state, because their system drove them to extinction. And they are the only ones. The rest, Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, population growth. Asia, population growth. Obviously outside of the Islamic realm, like everywhere there was population growth. I'm saying that because it has nothing to do with the Renaissance, right? It's like it was, yes, it was maybe slow at times, but it was growing. Not in the Arab world. It was driving itself to extinction. Anyway, 1 second. I need to find. And of course, we can always blame the Jews, you know, because the Jews also had a lot to do with the kind of technologies. Like, they invented it and it was used to sustain the Arab population and artificially grow it. And a lot of those things that were used to allow this population growth were developed by Jews. So you can always go back and blame the Jews, right? But whatever, you know. There you go. Somebody asking me about the Jewish population in Israel. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but the Jewish population worldwide is also staying about the same, so. All right, let's move. Okay, let's watch. I think this is the Fox News English version. Like they had a simultaneous translation. Wait.
My friends in the north, I'm proud of you. You're being able to
What is this terrible? Something is wrong with my left ear. 1 second, guys. Oh, why did it fall? And here. Okay. Did it work?
exactly as it happened in the south. My friends in the north, I'm proud of you. You're being able to withstand everything, and I'm absolutely committed to your security to
Why does it start
rebuild.
mid-sentence? Why does this weird translation thing starts mid-sentence? Yeah, or you guys prefer subtitles? Do you guys prefer dubs or subtitles? think, I mean, this translation person, it sounds so bad. Kind of hurts my soul. Yeah. All right, you guys saying subtitles. Dubbing is stupid. There is this one version. I think you guys can hear it. Oh, no. Yeah, no, I can't. Dubs are for kids. Subs. All right. Subs it is. You guys are funny. Okay. Um, I'm searching for it. Sorry. Dubs are occurring. You guys are funny. Okay, I can do it. Why is this a full hour? Like, okay, so the first, okay, let's do that. Let's try Sky News. No, it does the same thing. Why do they torture me? Where are the subtitles? Oh, there is things ready. Does it have English? Okay, it's translated. All right, I hope you can see it. Oops, sorry. Yeah, let's go.
ישראל, הבטחתי לכם ניצחון ונשיג ניצחון. נשלים את חיסול החמאס, נשיב את כל חטופינו, נבטיח שעזה לא תהווה עוד איום על ישראל, ונחזיר את תושבי הצפון בבטחה לבתיהם. המלחמה לא תסתיים עד שנשיג את כל יעדיה, ובכלל זה עד שלא נשיב את תושבי הצפון בבטחה הביתה. ואני מבקש לומר לכם, זה יקרה בדיוק כפי שזה קרה בדרום. ידידיי תושבי הצפון, אני גאה בכם. אני גאה ביכולת העמידה שלכם. ואני מחויב לחלוטין לביטחונכם, לשיקום יישוביכם, לעתידכם. עד עכשיו, הודות לגבורת לוחמינו בצה"ל, בשב"כ, במוסד ובמשטרת ישראל, השגנו הישגים עצומים בשבע החזיתות של מלחמת התקומה. ההישגים הללו גורמים להשתאות והערצה בעולם כולו, והם מקרינים את עוצמת ישראל ברחבי המזרח התיכון. ראשית, בראש התמנון, באיראן. השמדנו חלקים ניכרים מההגנה האווירית שלה, מיכולת ייצור הטילים שלה, והשמדנו מרכיב משמעותי בתוכנית הגרעין שלה. אני נחוש לעשות.
All right, so he's saying, he's talking about the attack in Iran that we have apparently, I wonder how it went under the radar. So Israel, I mean that the Biden administration was very opposed to attacking anything that has to do with the nuclear program. My guess is that maybe they had found a facility that the United States hadn't known was used for nuclear weapons, and Israel knew it was. So they attacked it, and then it was like, oh yeah, by the way, it was for nukes, for nuclear weapon development, which maybe it was in their, it didn't count for the Biden administration as nuclear stuff. But seriously, I have no idea. I don't know, they're so crazy. I don't believe they're anything but evil, to be honest at this point. Like, you can tell that because they did about absolutely nothing when it comes to the southern border, and they didn't need anything. They just had, the only thing they had to do is to tell the cops that are guarding the south border to just go ahead.
כל מה שצריך כדי למנוע מאיראן להשיג נשק גרעיני. האיום הזה תמיד עומד בראש מעייניי, וזה נכון היום ביתר שאת, כששומעים את ההצהרות החוזרות ונשנות של מנהיגי איראן על כוונתם להצטייד בנשק גרעיני. עבורי, הסרת האיום הזה היא המשימה החשובה ביותר כדי להבטיח את קיומה ועתידה של מדינת ישראל. בעזה פירקנו את גדודי החמאס, הרגנו כ-20,000 מחבלים, חיסלנו את סינואר, חיסלנו את דף, חיסלנו את בכירי הארגון, והשבנו 154 מחטופינו. אנחנו מחויבים להשיב את כולם הביתה, את 101 החטופים שנותרו בעזה, החיים והחללים כאחד, להביא קץ לסבל הנורא של משפחותיהם, ואנחנו כמובן מחויבים להשלים את השמדת החמאס. ביהודה ושומרון אנחנו מחסלים מאות מחבלים. אנחנו משמידים תשתיות טרור, ואנחנו פועלים בכל מעוזי הטרור. אין מקום שאנחנו לא מגיעים אליו. בתימן תקפנו בעוצמה את נמל חודדה של החות'ים, מה שלא עשתה הקואליציה הבינלאומית לפני כן.
Oh, throwing shade.
בלמנו בהצלחה, אנחנו עדיין בולמים.
Did you guys see this shade throwing? By the way, I wanna talk to Swear Like, I know you're hate watching, but your dedication is impeccable, and I want to say thank you for watching and like commenting on every live stream that I do. It's very like you are, like, as a soldier, you are doing amazing work. I'm not obviously, like, you're a brainwashed soldier that is here to make sure that there is a representative to the cult you belong to, but I want to say your I think it's important to give credit when credit is due, and your dedication and effort is noticed. Right. Anyway, yes, investory, smash the like, everyone, it's free. Yes, thank you for reminding us all to like. Anyway. So Netanyahu here was throwing shade at this global Yemen coalition Houthi attack that didn't achieve much, and Israel was like, oh, we're gonna do one attack and we're gonna do way more than you guys did. And it was like throwing shade. Like, I appreciate it. I like it. Like Bibi in this speech, like my favorite parts. I don't know why people don't focus on them. Like, my favorite parts when he throws shade towards the West that is impotent.
התקפות רבות של כטב"מים, וגם כאן יש עוד אתגרים לפנינו. בסוריה אנחנו מסכלים בשיטתיות את הניסיונות של איראן, חיזבאללה והצבא הסורי להעביר חימושים ללבנון. אסד חייב להבין, הוא משחק באש, ועכשיו החזית השביעית, לבנון. חיזבאללה בחר לתקוף אותנו משם ב8 באוקטובר, חלפה שנה, זה כבר לא אותו חיזבאללה. החזרנו אותו עשרות שנים אחורה. חיסלנו את נסראללה, זה הציר של הציר. חיסלנו את כל בכירי הארגון, השמדנו את מרבית הטילים והרקטות שלו, חיסלנו אלפי מחבלים, והשמדנו את תשתיות התת-קרקע והטרור שסמוכות לגבולנו, תשתיות שנבנו במשך שנים. תקפנו מטרות אסטרטגיות בכל רחבי לבנון, והפלנו עשרות רבות של מגדלי הטרור בדחיה. האדמה בביירות רועדת. אזרחי ישראל, רק לפני 3 חודשים.
That's so poetic. Like, the ground in Beirut is shaking. I appreciate the poetry. It's important, guys, people watch this and just, I don't know what they focus on, but clearly the poetry, the poetic kind of choice of words and the throwing shade is what you should actually focus on, because those are the fun parts.
כל זה היה נשמע מדע בדיוני, אבל זה לא מדע בדיוני. עשינו את זה. ואני מבקש לומר לכם, בכל רגע נתון של ניהול המערכה הזאת, אני מסתכל על כל החזיתות במקביל. כך נהגתי כשהחלטתי בתחילת המלחמה להתמקד בעזה, ולא לפתוח חזית שנייה רחבה בלבנון. כך נהגתי לפני חודשים אחדים, כשבשלו התנאים לפנות צפונה, ואז החלטנו להתמקד בחיזבאללה. כך נהגתי בעקבות מתקפת הטילים מאיראן, כשבחרנו בקפידה את עיתוי התגובה ואת אופי התגובה. וכך אני נוהג גם היום. אני מסתכל על כל החזיתות במקביל, אני רואה את התמונה הכוללת, ואני נחוש לתת לחיילים שלנו, לחיילים הגיבורים שלנו, את מלוא האמצעים לשמור על חייהם.
I want to say something. I see some comments like, there, I saw this, the people get the leader they deserve, okay? So a lot of Israelis and Jews, and I agree with the sentiment in general, feel like he is too hesitant, too mild, too playing it on the safe side. Well, how many channels do you see of Israelis just talking to the world and nicely explaining to them that the reality is that the Arabs, excuse me, I'm gonna say it plainly, should have went extinct and were saved by basically plugging them into tubes and feeding them via Western, help. They realistically, they were supposed to go extinct, like completely, and this very unfortunate but necessary process was cut by mechanical means. Well, you effing hypocrites. There isn't an Israeli that isn't a coward, hesitating coward that would face up and speak the truth and describe the things the way they are, because Israelis are like so loving and caring and want to do things right and the moral way in general, on average, or at least feel that they do it the moral way, to the point where get up and say, hey, listen, you know what? If, let's say, why do I feel like there needs to be a complete change of the way we are talking is because, for example, I've made this video speaking of the scenario where Israel disappears, okay? That's the scenario. How would Israel disappear? Doesn't matter. But this is the geopolitical situation in the Middle East. We can see that, by the way, places that are remote in the Middle East have already exemplified this phenomena. It happened in Libya, it happened in Afghanistan, it happened in Yemen. All those things I've described. Collapse, everything, Syria, whatever, name a country, you got it, it's happening. And yet, Israelis, what do? They stand up and say, oh, we're not committing genocide. Which in reality, the truth is, so what if we did? You guys are so dependent on us surviving here that even if we do the worst atrocities, you still have to support us, sweethearts. It's your lives or their lives, just as much, Instead of just plainly saying them, you guys, sweethearts, even if we did the worst things that you can imagine, considering the geopolitical situation and the culture we are dealing with, you have no choice but support Israel. It's that or you collapse because you're impotent. That's the thing. It's like, it doesn't matter Israel commits it or doesn't. You don't have a effing choice in the matter. And yet Israelis are like, oh, we're not doing anything, we're so sweet, and like, so this is the leader you get. You get what you effing deserve.
ולהביא לנו את הניצחון. ולכן אזרחי ישראל, הערב אביא לאישור הקבינט מתווה להפסקת אש בלבנון. משך הפסקת האש תלוי במה שהתרחש בלבנון. בהבנה מלאה עם ארצות הברית, אנחנו שומרים על חופש פעולה צבאי מלא. אם חיזבאללה יפר את ההסכם וינסה להתחמש, אנחנו נתקוף. אם הוא ינסה לחדש תשתיות טרור בסמוך לגבול, אנחנו נתקוף. אם הוא ישגר רקטה, אם הוא יחפור מנהרה, אם הוא יכניס משאית עם טילים, אנחנו נתקוף. כן, אני שומע את הטענה, שאם ניכנס להפסקת אש, לא נוכל לתקוף ולא נוכל לחדש את המלחמה. אני מזכיר לכם, זה בדיוק מה שאמרו לי, אבל בדיוק. כשעשינו את הפסקת האש בעזה לצורך שחרור חטופינו. אמרו שלא נחזור להילחם, חזרנו להילחם, ובגדול. אומרים לי, טוב, חיזבאללה יישב בשקט שנה, שנתיים, הוא יתעצם, ואחר כך הוא יתקוף אותנו. אבל חיזבאללה יפר את הפסקת האש לא רק אם הוא יירה עלינו, הוא יפר את ההסכם גם כשהוא ינסה להתחמש כדי לירות עלינו בעתיד. על כל הפרה שלו נגיב בעוצמה. אני יודע שיש כאלה שלא מאמינים שנעשה זאת. אבל רבים גם לא האמינו. לא האמינו שניכנס קרקעית לרצועת עזה, ונכנסנו. לא האמינו שניכנס
So everything, I believe in Netanyahu. I believe Netanyahu does the best, it takes the best options given the geopolitical situation we're at. The next leaders are gonna be not those who take the best decision that they can given the geopolitical situation. They're gonna be the kind of leaders that would say out loud what needs to be done geopolitically, where we are going, and change the concepts, like all the conceptions that were already established and are established right now, and say, hey guys, we failed. We need to think about a new world while taking into consideration that there is no Lebanon, there is no Syria. The Middle East is failed, but they have access to weapons and ballistic missiles and chemical weapons and whatnot. And because they're failed and poor and don't know how to work the ground, and to be honest, the ground is also not very cooperating because it's drying out. There are a lot of droughts, and the area is suffering from lack of water as well. There is a rethinking that needs to happen, and that would be, I hope, the next generation of leadership, where it's like those who would make the fundamental change, right? Like a shift in energy, a shift in what's right, what's wrong, a shift in understanding of how the world needs to work. And there is nothing you can do about it. Like, people come and are like, why is Israel doing that? Why are we doing that? Like, geopolitically, our adversaries, the Nazis, the actual Nazis, had been working on making sure Israel would be in a catch-22 kind of geopolitical situation since the 60s, for decades. We weren't there, and we didn't have the manpower or the understanding. Like, even like, I'm sorry, like old-time Israelis they did not themselves understand the reality in the ground. The Jewish Americans in the US, what did they know? Like, even like, what did they know? Like, they didn't know yet. And they allowed a world where Israeli people think that part of Israeli culture is also showing a movie like Vals with Bashir as in a product of Israeli, the greatness of free speech in Israel and Israeli achievement. Next, like, I mean, if you want to shoot yourself, don't shoot the foot, shoot the head. Make it more easier for people to understand what's going on. But anyway, this is the Israel that we had, of people who were so traumatized from being persecuted, they barely believed they have the right to stay alive. Now we're having more of a generation that believes we have to do whatever it takes to stay alive. But sorry, the people that believe that we shouldn't be alive had been setting the ground that to a world with, conceptions and policies that would tie our hands. And we weren't there. We weren't mentally there to fight back. So right now we are in a situation where literally the world is the way it is. And now it took them decades, okay? So what we're seeing in the United States, in America, in the campuses, decades of work, of laying the ground. Well, this takes time. This takes time. Luckily, it might be faster for us because there is reality. Reality is a very, very good thing to have on our side. If you want things to move faster, reality helps, right? If you go against reality, the way the pro-Palestinians and whatever this whole movement did, they went against reality. They went against the truth. So they had to work really, really hard to create this alternative world perception because they were basically swimming against the current. Luckily, the current is on the current and our way of the place we want to go is like the same place. So we can do it maybe in less years. But that's something we all have to do. Every single person that understands what's going on. Otherwise, it's World War II, cool, the Jews were wrapped up and killed, but you know how many people died? How many American soldiers died? It was like far, far away and unrelated, but how many of them died? That was a tragedy. That's awful. Let's not get there. Because let's say the American price of losing, I don't know how many soldiers, but I bet on at least 100,000. I don't feel like checking, but the number I have in mind is good amount of soldiers. Let's not get there, because let's not get there. Let's not lose our classmates, our husbands, our boys, our girls. Let's not get there at all. No matter how much, relatively speaking, we're far away from it, so we're gonna pay a small price. I don't want to pay a small price. I don't want to, not for no need, okay? Let's not. So each and one of us has to be the kind of person that says, hey, we gotta rethink that. We really have to rethink that. And Israel does right now the best it can given the geopolitical situation. The next generation of leadership worldwide has to face reality and shift.
לשיפא ולח'אן יונס ונכנסנו. לא האמינו שמול הלחצים הבינלאומיים הכבירים ניכנס לרפיח ולפילדלפי. ולא רק שנכנסנו, תקפנו. ועוד איך תקפנו. היו גם רבים שלא האמינו שנתקוף בלבנון. וגם שם תקפנו. תקפנו בעוצמה ובתחכום שהפתיעו את העולם כולו. אז אחרי כל זה, אולי כדאי להתחיל להאמין. להאמין בנחישות שלנו, בדרך שלנו, במחויבות שלנו לניצחון. אז למה לעשות הפסקת אש עכשיו? יש 3 סיבות עיקריות. סיבה ראשונה, התמקדות באיום האיראני. ולא ארחיב על כך. סיבה שנייה, רענון כוחות וחידוש מלאים. ואני אומר לכם בגלוי, כי זה לא
This
סוד.
is my favorite part.
היו עיכובים גדולים באספקת נשק וחימושים. והעיכוב הזה
You see it?
עומד
Like
להשתחרר.
there was this moment where it jumped into Hebrew. What was that?
ואני אומר לכם בגלוי, כי זה לא סוד. היו עיכובים גדולים באספקת נשק וחימושים. והעיכוב הזה עומד להשתחרר בקרוב. נצטייד באמצעי לחימה מתקדמים.
That is direct shade throwing at Mr. Whoever runs the White House, you know, the zombie Trump or the zombie, I'm sorry, Trump, not you, you're great. I mean, you have basic reasoning skills, which is a lot more than I can. It's like, you'd think it would be more common, but apparently that's a very rare trait to have. Yeah, zombie Biden. Yeah, thank you. I love this. Obama, whatever, whoever is there, whoever evil zombie people that make sure that people in the south of their own country suffer, and that everywhere that they are managing would be unlivable and scary. Like these people are also like very, like it's their life mission to screw Israel. I like that he's saying that. It's like they're about to go. You want to be missed. Bye-bye.
שישמרו על חיי חיילינו ויתנו לנו כוח מחץ נוסף להשלים את משימותינו. וסיבה שלישית להפסקת אש. ניתוק הזירה ובידוד החמאס. מהיום השני של המלחמה, החמאס בנה על חיזבאללה שילחם לצידו. וכשחיזבאללה מחוץ לתמונה, החמאס נותר לבד במערכה. הלחץ שלנו עליו יגבר, וזה יסייע למשימה הקדושה של שחרור חטופינו. אזרחי ישראל, בשנה האחרונה הפכנו את הקערה על פיה. הותקפנו בשבע חזיתות והשבנו מלחמה שערה. אנחנו משנים את פני המזרח.
I cannot forget, like now, can't forget. Like ever somebody says like that Israel like now Bibi is like actually counted like the 7 fronts Israel is fighting in. Like I keep remembering the time that when Destiny came to Israel and he was like, so there is this, like he was obviously stating that in a tone where it says like he didn't, like, so people are saying that Israel is fighting like on 7 fronts, and he was like had this face saying that like, why do people say bullshit like that, and all, and the crowd, like obviously they're leftists, so the thing about leftist people is that they're really bad at reading like facial cues and stuff and tones, like vocal tones, like they don't understand who is in front of them. A bit autistic. I feel like yeah, I can for sure, like if I think about the crowd, like a lot of them seemed a bit anyway. And even like I don't know, maybe just it's a skill, you know, it's a skill. You don't have to be an autistic person, just you know how to read intonation. But like they all answered enthusiastic, like yeah, exactly, this is what we're going through, we're fighting all those we have so many fronts. Like it was so funny.
התיכון. את כל זה אנחנו עושים בזכות החיילים הגיבורים שלנו, בזכות העמידה האיתנה שלכם, ובזכות הניהול התקיף והמושכל של המלחמה. אמרתי פעמים רבות, הסכם טוב זה הסכם שאוכפים אותו, ואנחנו נאכוף אותו. בעזרת השם נבסס את הביטחון, נפריח את הצפון ונמשיך יחד עד הניצחון.
All right. Cool. Okay, let me go through. There are a couple of super chats I'm gonna go through. Ayatollah Khamenei. Thank you so much for your support of Israel. I will donate for you. You will be rewarded in Jannah for this. Thank you so much, Ayatollah, for helping Swarm to support this channel. This is God's work. Thank you so much, Peter. Amazing. Thank you so much. Another $10 in your. I want to swear him. Thank you for being here. You are really making it way easier for me to make videos because, you know, without you guys, I cannot continue doing that. So it's a lot. Lori Cheta, thank you. Thank you as well for helping Swarm support me and us and spread the message of it's time to face reality. Some things that we tried had failed, and we have to understand that it failed, and no, the answer is not to go and adopt all those failed states, because states are fake entities that are built out of people, and it's not the state that failed, it's the population and the culture and the people that failed. So don't adopt them. You have to find another solution. Well, thank you so much, you all. And Raya, thank you. Yes. Thank you for your support. Yes, you are getting famous. Thank you so much for being here. So, being such a the commitment, to be here and oppose me every live stream I do is I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna say goodnight to you all.